hello there. So I'm really into the idea of immortality, being able to live forever, never dying, never having that worry of death, which in its own sense is the one thing you can never experience as someone who's immortal, which is its own poetic, like, irony. We're here to talk about the science of immortality. With most powers and abilities, you kind of have to wonder, how can I obtain that? And so I've been thinking a lot about immortality and like what it would take to become immortal. I kind of realized how gross of a monster you'd be, or not be, if you were immortal. So we're gonna start from kind of like a basic level of your cells. For you to be completely immortal, it's going to be in your DNA, in your cells, so your cells can no longer die. This is where things got kind of weird and complicated when I was thinking about it. What happens regularly with your body is cells die and they fall off and then they replicate or they duplicate themselves. That's how they reproduce. And like that's where dead skin comes from, when your hair falls out. Those are all dead cells that leave your body. Now, if your cells don't die, will they still duplicate even if cells didn't die and fall off your body? On the assumption that they would still duplicate, you're just gonna get layers and layers and layers of skin. Your organs are gonna get bigger and bigger with more layers as these cells are duplicating and not falling off and not dying. And well, you probably just turn into a monster. Now let's say your cells don't need to duplicate because you're immortal. Since they don't die and fall off, your cells have no reason to duplicate. There's like this cap over your chromosomes in your DNA. As cells reproduce, this cap gets whittled away at, and that's what kind of causes aging. You will kind of live forever because that aging never happens. The problem with that, and this is the less gross side of immortality, is unless you are in your prime, mid-20s to 30s, you are going to be immortal at a certain age and never grow up. So if you're a baby born with immortality, you're a baby forever. Your brain will probably develop thoughts. I don't know if your bones will ever be strong enough, your muscles will ever be strong enough to carry yourself, so you'll probably crawl around all the time. Yeah, so you'll just be a baby. Or if you become immortal as an 80-year-old, you're just a withered old person. Now we're gonna get into the real gross part when I've been thinking about this. If you got perfect age, so we're in our mid-20s, you're immortal now all of a sudden, your cells will no longer age, you cannot die, and your cells will not duplicate and fall off of your body. Okay, sounds good to me. What's weird and disgusting about this? Gross out warning. If you have no issues with talking about sexual reproduction organs and other tidbits, you can keep going. If not, wait a little bit. I'll probably put a time where I'll talk about more stuff. But here's what this is gonna take a little leap into. My dudes, my gentlemen, my fellow guys, your little taily friends that are used to make little babies, they are cells of your body with your DNA in them. They can't die if you're immortal. Your little baby starters, they can live outside of your body for approximately 20 minutes in kind of a warm area. Inside of a female, they can last for about 5 days. Now, when these little bad boys can't die, they're gonna be swimming along forever trying to fertilize whatever egg they can come in contact with. You are going to have little armies of these things every time you need to release yourself. Even if you use protection with a lady friend, that spermicidal lube, spermicide, definition of spermicide, death of sperms, isn't gonna work on them. They're just gonna be living in that little rubber balloon for forever. You have a little army of ewes, little seed ewes. You have a giant army of them everywhere you let that out. And you're like, well, then maybe I just won't Maybe I won't reproduce. Maybe I'll just not have to do that anymore. I'm genius. Look at me. I'm here to tell you something. Guys, we kind of have our own monthly cycle. It's called a wet dream. And what this is your body needs to weed out the old with the new. So if you've ever woken up with some messy sheets, it's because your body just needs to cycle stuff out. So no matter what, once you're at the age of puberty, these things are coming out. And they will be forever and ever and ever just swimming along. Now I'm gonna get a little awkward, try not to be creepy about it. Ladies, good news and bad news. Good news is you probably won't have to bleed anymore because nothing really can shed when you're immortal. There's no dead skin. There's nothing dead that's shedding it and falling off. But if your body still needs to get rid of it, it's just gonna come out along with your undying eggs, and they're just gonna be there, you know. And that's a little weird. They're just gonna chill out. It's gross on both ends. And if you have an immortal girl and an immortal guy, one day that little swimmy dude's gonna find an egg, and boom, you just have an immortal baby just kind of forming in open area. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy. Now on that, if you have an immortal woman and an immortal man, and say there's like a communal like family bathroom in some facility, and they don't get flushed down or they happen to be at the same time, you know, and that weird fetus forms. Whenever it finally becomes like when it forms into like even just the little zygote, as long as that's as far as, you know, the immortality activates, that's all it's ever gonna be. It's that little start of a person. It's so messed up and weird to think about, but that's what immortality is. Messed up and weird. Alright, done with the grosser stuff. We're gonna move on to what would happen if your body got damaged as an immortal. This isn't assuming you're indestructible. Our cells just can't die. So if you get cut, your blood still has the capability, your blood cells still have the capability to coagulate. Now what about the skin or whatever got ripped off and fell to the ground? Well, as we had discussed, your cells don't need to replicate if cells don't die, if this is how immortality will work. If your skin cells fell off your body with like a cut or a scrape or something like that, and now you just have the scab that's filling up, and the rest of your cells are probably gonna have to duplicate and replicate to fill in where you got cut. The cells that fell on the ground from your skin that are on the ground now, those are probably gonna start duplicating, trying to reform into your arm, but there's no arm there. There's nothing that got cut off. You know, wherever you get hit, that's not there anymore. So that thing's probably just gonna reproduce forever and ever and ever and expand into a giant blanket of your arm skin, or maybe just the length of your body. It would just make a new, just skin suit of yourself. Hell, you wouldn't even have to worry about cutting your skin off. A normal grooming of your hair or cutting your nails, clipping your nails, keeping them short, that's gonna keep growing. That hair that fell off your body, that's just gonna keep growing into a huge strand of hair. Your nail is gonna become a long piece of cartilage or whatever the hell nails are. I think they are dead skin. So maybe your nails wouldn't grow. I don't really know. There's a lot of research that should have gone into this, but I just thought about how gross it was with the minimal things I thought about. It's kind of gross. It's really gross. the thing about immortality is it's probably not. It really can't be immortal because if it's down to the cells, as long as everything is vaporized in some way, shape, or form, it's not going to regenerate. It's dead. We're not talking about indestructible. We're just talking about never aging, never dying. And I mean, eventually, you know, if you send these things to the sun, you know, you have to have special garbage disposal because you're an immortal being. Yeah, you could probably get rid of that stuff, and that'd be your best bet if you are caught with this immortal thing. Is you got to trap all your reproductive pieces, your hair, your nails, any skin left behind. You got to trap it, and you just got to incinerate it somehow. And boom, bam, boom, you got a perfectly normal, immortal, everlasting life.